Welcome, everyone. I guess I'll kick off. My name is Rana Askoul. I'm the CEO of the Womanity Foundation. And I have Laura here with me. Laura, I'll let you also introduce yourself really quickly.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining our session. I'm Laura Somoggi, and I am the Womanity Award Program Director.
Great. So thank you again so much, everyone, for joining us. We're really here today to talk about the fourth round of the Womanity Award for the Prevention of Violence Against Women that we launched 2 weeks ago. And really, this session is mostly about going through some questions to which Laura will be providing answers to that we both hope will help those who are interested in applying for the fourth round of Womanity Awards. So I guess without further ado, Laura, we'll kick off with the questions. I'll be asking Laura a few questions and we'll go through the answers. So I guess, Laura, first of all, I think it'll be good for us to just help explain to everyone what Womanity Award is all about.
Okay. So Womanity Award is the Womanity Foundation program that is focused on prevention of violence against women and girls. We created it in 2014. And the goal of the award is to find innovative solutions around the world, in the global south of the world, that are innovative solutions for prevention of violence against women and girls. And the idea is that we support a pair of organizations that we work together. So the support we give is not to one organization, but to two organizations that will create a partnership. And the idea is that they will adapt a program that one of the organizations has already maybe implemented in different countries, and they will adapt that program to a new country, the country where the second partner is based. And the idea that I think it's quite innovative of the award is that we're just not copying the successful program to a different place. It's really about understanding the local context, the gender norms, the local stakeholders, the community, and really make all the changes necessary for that program to resonate to that new context. And the idea is that these organizations will really learn from each other and also be able to create more knowledge about what works for prevention of violence against women and girls to be able to share more widely as well.
Fantastic. So I think one of the, also one of the questions that we get a lot, or one of the points that we would love to specifically highlight and shed light on, is the fact that organizations do have to apply together. So it would be great, Laura, maybe if you shed some light on that particular aspect of the program.
Yeah, no, you're right. We have been receiving some questions of organizations asking the partnerships between one organization and Womanity. I mean, we do see the organization support as partners, but when we talk about partnership, we're talking specifically about two organizations applying together. And the idea is that they will identify with whom they want to work. So Womanity doesn't choose the partners. It's up for the candidates to choose with whom they want to work. And to have an agreement in principle that they are planning to work together to adapt a specific program on prevention of violence to a new context. And the reason why we don't choose is because a partnership really is based on similar values, on agreed ways of working. So it's really important that the candidates choose with whom they want to work with our support for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. And I know, Laura, as well, when you spoke through Womanity Award, we spoke about the term adaptation. So I think it would be great as well to give an explanation of what we mean by that, and what do we exactly mean when we say adaptation.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's important because different people use the words with different meanings. So the way we look at adaptation is, as I said, is really contextualizing that program to the country where it's going to be adapted. So it's not only about translation between like different languages, so it can be understood. It's about really understanding how we engage the community in that specific country. What are the community leaders that need to be involved, or which are the stakeholders? Is it the media? Is it the government? Who needs to be involved in that specific country to make sure that the program can resonate and have the impact that the partners want to have. And it's different from replication, that is more like copying a program over times and times over and over. This is really taking the time to understand what needs to change in the program so it's impactful in the new country where it's going to be adapted.
Great. So we'll shift gears a bit after, kind of having spoke a bit about what Womanity Award is all about, what we mean by adaptation, and maybe talk about the previous themes, because this is our 4th round of intake on Womanity Award. So it would be great to get your, your perspective as well on the previous themes that we had and the previous rounds for Womanity Award.
Okay, so we had 3 rounds before. The first one, the theme of the award is how to prevent violence against women by engaging men and boys. And we did a program we supported the adaptation of a program in Lebanon, which was engaging men and boys to be able to challenge kind of the harmful gender norms and the stereotypes that are, and lots of beliefs, local beliefs, to address issues that cause violence against women and girls. The second one was specifically on how to end online violence against women and girls, and that was in Mexico, adapted to Mexico. And the third one is still ongoing, it's in South Africa, and it's a program focusing on prevention of violence against women and girls by creating safe cities for women and girls. And in this 4th award, the theme is domestic violence. So it's a different theme from what we had before. It's prevention of domestic violence against women and girls.
And that really is a great opportunity for us to also explain what exactly do we mean by domestic violence. The term is, encompasses a lot of different things. So it would be great to break that down as well as to what exactly do we mean by domestic violence.
Okay, I think it's an important question because, again, there are lots of different things that are considered domestic violence. So it's domestic that's perpetrated by ex or current intimate partner, could be a family member, could be a carer. And many people understand more as physical or sexual violence, which are domestic violence, but this can include also coercion, economic violence, psychological violence, emotional violence. So again, all these different aspects, and normally they don't happen in isolation. When one happens, normally more than one happen at the same time. So these are all elements that we take into consideration when we're talking about domestic violence.
Great. Thanks, Laura. I think I would love, I know that we've got, we're trying to keep the session, short. So I'll jump into the next question, but it is also interesting, to maybe get some perspective around what the year that we've gone through with COVID and the issues around domestic violence, but maybe we'll keep that for another session. I know that we wanted to cover mostly what we want to do on the intakes and on the selection process. So I think it's pertinent for us to start looking at which organizations, or maybe talking a little bit about who is eligible to apply, what organizations are eligible to apply.
Okay, so the award is focusing on partnerships between organizations based in the global south. So, and they need to be based in different countries of the global south. So the idea is not to have adaptation between different parts of the same country, but in different countries to really help to share these transnational networks and sharing learning opportunities between countries. They should be legal, registered organizations, can be small, but legal and registered. As I said before, the idea is that they already have an agreement in principle to work together, and they have chosen the program that prevents domestic violence against women and girls that they want to adapt. They are able to communicate in English, and we do recognize that's a limitation if you're only focusing on the global south. But unfortunately, we don't have resources and structure at the time being to be able to do a selection process or even managing the work afterwards in a different language. So it's only English. They have some experience working in partnership. They don't need to have worked together before, the two organizations applying together, but it would be ideal that they have some experience in working in collaboration. They can show some evidence of the work that they have done. They can communicate results of the program or other programs they have done. And one criteria that is desirable, but it's not mandatory, and that there is a diversity on the board or senior management. So like a fair representation of women on the senior leadership of the organization. I mean, there are more specifics on the evaluation criteria, and it's going to be, this is all available in our website, and we will put the link to the website afterwards. So if you want to read everything on your own time, you can go to the website, and there are lots of more information there as well.
And I guess, Laura, in everything that we're covering today, obviously a lot of the information is also available on the website. So the questions are kind of more to highlight the critical parts, and we'll get some tips as well, maybe from you at the end, that might not be on the website. But I think talking about that as well, maybe highlighting, if we can ask you to highlight like the critical steps, critical timelines on what's going to happen on the selection process.
Okay. So we have 4 main steps, and it's a long selection process in a way, but I think it's important to say that we believe, and based on our experience from the past awards, that the process is a very interesting learning opportunity for everyone who is applying. So we are now open to receive the proposals. So the call for proposals were opened 2 weeks ago, and it will be open until the end of January. Once we receive all the proposals, we're going to do an internal shortlisting process, and then we're going to select a number of organizations to apply. So to send more information about how they want to work together, in which country, and these will be between 8th of March and 8th of April. So that will be a month for the organization selected to send more information. Then we're going to have a longer process of internal shortlisting, and then to choose the 3 pairs of finalists. And then from July to September, there's going to be a 3-month mentoring phase where these organizations will have their time funded to be able to go deep dive on the adaptation plan, and maybe already make some connections with the local stakeholders, really shape well what they will present to the final, on the final step, which is a presentation to the selection panel in October. One of the things that we would love to do is, during this mentoring phase, is a field visit to the country where the program will be adapted, and also have a face-to-face meeting with the selection panel. This will really depend on what's happening with COVID, and if we can, that's what we want to do, but we will need to respect restrictions in different countries to be able to confirm that.
Wonderful. And once, and so you said the final presentation selection panel in October. Once the selection is made, when would the actual adaptation process kick off or start?
So we have, so the idea is, like, after we have announced in October, there will be a little bit of paperwork to do partnership agreements, etc. But the goal is to have the program adaptation starting until the end of next year. So by end of 2021.
Yeah. And so within that, it would be great as well to break down the kind of support that will be provided from Womanity throughout the whole process.
So it's a 3-year partnership, 3-year support, and there are 5 key elements to it. One is the support, the funding that we give for the adaptation process. So for the organizations really to adapt that program to the new country. We have also institutional strengthening support, and this is given by each organization separately, and it's really to help them on organizational development, see what areas of the organizations they would like to develop, and then we'll give separate support for that. We also have what we call Amplifying Voices. So this is not funding, but this is really trying to leverage the presence of the partners in different networks, in different events, panels, to really amplify their voices. We have self-care, which is something new in this round. We haven't done this before, which is provide some funding so partners can take time off, have more people working. So anything that can help them, and this is up for them to decide, to avoid a burnout or working excessive hours, etc. We know that in this field of work, as in many others, people tend to overwork. So it's important that they have some support to find a way to deal with that and not overwork. And the last is mentoring and accompaniment. So we have a very close relationship with the organizations we support. And the idea is that we will be working with them to help facilitate anything in this process that they need. And as much as they need. So it's not like to be an overburn or to be a pressure, but really to be there to facilitate learning exchange, anything the partners might need during this 3-year journey.
Right. And so it's 3 years, 5 main elements of support. I guess, Laura, as well, it would be great to break down the amount, so the funding that would be extended over the duration of the program for the different organizations or the pair of organizations.
Okay, so as I said before, there is a bit of funding that helps, that happens even during the selection process. So for the 3 pairs of finalists that will go through the mentoring phase, their time dedicated to that will be funded. So it's going to be 5,000 Swiss francs to each pair of finalists. And also, if there is a field visit, depending on COVID restrictions, there's going to be another 2,500 Swiss francs to cover field visit. So these are for the 3 pairs of finalists. Then for the awarded pair that will receive our support over 3 years, the total they will receive is 320,000 Swiss francs, which is almost equivalent to US dollars. And this will be shared between the 2 organizations over the 3 years. Part of it, 240, is for the adaptation itself, and they can share the way they want, depending on the needs during the process. Then we have 60,000 for institutional strengthening to be shared equally, 30,000 Swiss francs each. And then we have the self-care, which is going to be 10,000 to each partner. And then another thing which is new on this round that we haven't had before is that we're going to also give some seed funding to the 2 pairs of finalists that went through the whole process but weren't awarded in the end. And we're going to give 30,000 Swiss francs to each of them. And the idea is for them to use those funds to pilot the program or to be able to pay for expenses they might need until they get the funding to be able to do the proper rollout of the program. It's going to be really up for them to decide, but this is also a recognition of all the work they will be doing during the selection process.
Great, thank you, Laura. I think the most important question, which is the inside track on your specific tips or advice or special recommendation on what applicants should be focusing on during this application process.
I think as I mentioned several times, the whole model of the program, the award, is based on partnerships. So, and in this phase now, before you submit your proposals, which will be done in pairs, it's really important that you identify a good partner, because you're going to be working together for 3 years. And the idea is that when you're looking for a partner, of course, it's important to see if you have similar values, if you agree on the ways of working, if you are both happy with the program you're planning to adapt, you are happy where you want to adapt, and also that you see a partner as someone you're going to learn from, and that you see that the partner will help you to achieve something you wouldn't be able to achieve if you weren't working together, which for me are really basic principles of having a good partnership. So one of the reasons we give like 2.5 months for this first phase, the call for proposals, is really to give the partners the time to identify with whom they want to work, not only what program they want to do. And we're having, as I said, I think in the beginning, some organizations asking if Womanity will help them to find the partners. And I think that's important that the organizations find with whom they want to work. And also the other thing that to clarify is the partnership is not between one organization and Womanity. We see our partners as the organization support as partners, but again, it's not about Womanity and one organization, but it's really about 2 organizations from different countries in the global south coming together to work to adapt a program with our support.
Thank you, Laura. That's good. That's good to kind of stress, because we know as well from looking at previous intakes how important that partnership and that relationship is for both parties. My last question is just to get from you on if, if organizations have any questions around the fourth round, who should they get in touch with?
So we have created an email for organizations to send their questions, which is, we're going to put in the comments afterwards, but it's womanity.award@womanity.org. And what we are asking people to do is to send their questions until the 8th of January. And then we're going to compile all the questions and answers and publish on our website. So everybody has access to all the different questions that may have been asked during the process.
Great. Thank you, Laura. I think I'll just, add maybe one last thing is what you mentioned earlier. There's a lot more information. I think we worked really diligently to try and cover everything on our website. So a lot of things around what we mean by institutional strengthening, what, you kind of mentioned as well, what we mean by, amplifying voices, all of that information. So I think just the last recommendation, I guess, to all our viewers is to get on, our website, get on the Womanity Award page, the Womanity Award 4 page, where they can find a lot more information. Anything else, maybe, Laura, that you want to add, or did we cover everything? I'll kind of leave the floor to you in case I missed anything as well.
No, I think we covered the most important things. I really hope there are lots of organizations that will hear that and find this a good opportunity. We do see the work we do to manage as a catalyst of partnerships. The experience we have had so far with the partners that worked together in the previous awards continued to work together after the 3 years, which is an amazing thing to see. It's a really amazing opportunity for organizations that want to create partnerships to work together. So, and yes, and please send any questions you might have. I'm here to answer and direct you to the right piece of information if you can't find. So I hope you apply, and good luck.
Great. Thanks a lot, Laura. It was fun doing this. We do it again soon.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you, everyone.
everyone. Thanks so much for joining.